damaged basement in Prince George's County, Maryland. It's Sunday night. It's time for Sunday Songs. Thanks for being here. I don't know, but I could swear we left our better self somewhere. These days all we do, it seems, chance our checks and call them dreams. I've known you since we were kids, with the whole world cut up on a dish. Then the work went south and your dad got sick, and the ground below began to slip. Bright beginnings often fade, precious you can keep the flame. So let the chips fall where they may. We're headed out of town today, where we're bound for I can't say. There's no sure things in this life, baby. Bright beginnings often fade, precious few can keep the flame. But all I have I'd give to stand beside that brightness once again. And all I have I would happily give. All I have I would happily give. All I have I would happily give. All I have I would happily give, baby. To stand there with you now, to stand there with you ever, to stand there with you now, to stand there with you ever, to stand there with you now, to stand there with you ever, to stand there with you now, to stand there with you ever. Thank you. Don't take everything they say to heart. Don't pick every unkind word apart. It's a brave new world, but some things still hold true. The seasons change and people change their tune, 'cause they don't know beauty, just the costume. Don't know music, just the volume. Stay and dance with just who brought you. The lights come up, baby, nothing else remains. So grab that waiting wheel and set your course. Let the chorus waver back and forth. It's you alone knows where the greatness lies. So meet their doubtful gazes eye to eye, as they don't know beauty, just the costume, don't know music, just the volume. Stay and dance with just who brought you. Stay and dance with just who brought you. Stay and dance with just who brought you. When the lights come up, baby, nothing else remains. When the lights come up, baby, nothing else remains. Thank you. That's a song called Stay and Dance. Silver cans and bronze-colored dirt. Silver cans and bronze-colored dirt. Things end so soon, 'neath the parking lot moon. Silver cans in bronze-colored dirt. She said, let's call it quits. Let's not call it the end of the world. Call it what you will. I'm heartbroken still. Words are just words. Road south on I-95. Road south on I-95. Forget what you're told. It's bound to get cold off these roads south on I-95. I call today a disaster. She calls it December the 3rd. Call it what you will. I'm heartbroken still. Words are just words. On a brief and star-stricken night. On a brief and star-stricken night. I called her name on the road from Spokane. On a brief and star-stricken night. I hear blue heron crying. Some folks just call it a bird. Call it what you will. I'm heartbroken still. Words are just words. Some calling it the beginning, but for right now, they'll go unheard. Call it what you will. I'm heartbroken still. Words are just words. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'd be remiss if I went any further in our show tonight to share with you some news that perhaps you already know. I found out about it about 3 minutes before I clicked the button here to go live. So I'm still very much processing this information. The singer-songwriter and friend of mine, Justin Townes Earle, passed away earlier today. That's all the information I have on it. And What an immeasurable loss. What a terrible loss to lose somebody before their time. I mean, this was certainly before his time. And this is all very fresh to me. I don't know what to say. Last time I saw him was a year or two ago. Robert Ellis and I were at a music festival, and we went over to go see him and say hello, and he seemed like he was good then. And what a loss to music, but also what a loss to his family. My wife, my heart goes out to his wife. My heart goes out to his young daughter, and my heart goes out to my friend and my mentor, his father, Steve Earle. I'm at a loss for words, so I'm going to play some music now, and this music is for Justin. May he be resting in peace right now, and this music right now is for his family. When I was 24, I went on about an 8-week-long tour with Justin, and he was like a real big champion of my music when I was just getting started, and him and his father. And I know that he really liked this song a lot, so I'm sending this to you on the other side of this life. And I've come to know the wish list of my father. I've come to know the shipwrecks when he wished. I've come to wish aloud among the overdressed crowd. Come to witness now the sinking of the ship, throwing pennies from the sea top next to it. And I've come to roam the forest past the village with a dozen lazy horses in my cart. I've come here to get high, to do more than just get by. I've come to test the timber of my heart. Or I've come to test the timber of my heart. And I have come to be untroubled in my seeking. And I have come to see that nothing is for naught. I've come to reach out blind, to reach forward and behind. For the more I seek, the more I'm sought. Yeah, the more I seek, the more I'm sought. And I've come to meet the sheriff and his posse, to offer him the broadside of my jaw. I've come here to get broke, and then maybe by my smoke we'll go drinking 2 towns over after all. We'll go drinking 2 towns over after all. And I've come to meet the legendary takers. I've only come to ask them for a lot. Well, they say I've come with less than I should rightfully possess. I say the more I buy, the more I'm bought. And the more I'm bought, the less I cost. And I have come to take their servants and their surplus. And I have come to take their raincoats and their speed. I've come to get my fill, to ransack and spill. I've come to trade the harvest for the seed. Or I've come to trade the harvest for the seed. I've come to know the manger that you sleep in. I have come to be the stranger that you keep. I've come from down the road, and my footsteps never slowed. Before we met, I knew we'd meet. Oh, before we met, I knew we'd meet. And I've come here to ignore your cries and heartaches. I've come to closely listen to you sing. I've come here to insist that I leave here with a kiss. I've come to say exactly what I mean. And I mean so many things. And you've come to know me stubborn as a butcher. And you've come to know me thankless as a guest. Will you recognize my face when God's awful grace strips me of my jacket and my vest and reveals all the treasure in my chest? God rest your soul, Justin, and may God have mercy on your family, your wife, your daughter, your father, Steve, in this dark hour. Man. Well, certainly, if you're just joining us for your first episode of Sunday Songs here, it's not usually like this. Just a very tragic event has happened tonight. The singer-songwriter Justin Townes Earle has passed away. I found out 5 minutes before the broadcast. I don't have any more information than that he's just not here with us anymore. And so I'm just going to continue to play songs here. I don't know what else to do. I wish I knew a couple of his tunes like straight up off the top of my head. And you can bet for sure that next week I'll have a few worked up of his songs, because he's written some beautiful songs that will surely stand the test of time. Mama's Eyes, Midnight at the Movies, that song of his, Harlem River Blues. I mean, just, they'll stick around. I'm going to jump in and see where you guys are at down in the chat right now. Why don't you let me know where you're at. You know what? Normally I love to do this, but I'm going to kind of stay away from the chat just for right now. I normally really like doing it, but I'm just going to play some music here, man. Take a walk on Sunday, it ain't that hard. Take a walk on Sunday, it ain't that hard. If my thoughts are hard to gather, if I don't know where to start, it ain't my mind that matters, for I have an unsophisticated heart. I tried to trust a stranger, it got hard. You know, I tried to trust a stranger, got hard. Now I see things like a soldier, and I'm jealous of the dark. But if my eyes have only gotten older, I still have an unsophisticated heart. Oh, my eyes will be hard and my voice will be guarded, my mind so bewildered and buried in the garden. You may still know me by just one part. I tried to keep your secret, it got hard. There was nowhere I could keep it, and it got hard. And there's one thing that's for certain, when they come with their dogs and their guards, I can't hide. Well, I'm just going to kind of go down a rabbit hole here of songs I want to sing when somebody you know passes away. It passes away before their time. My latest sun is sinking fast. My race is surely run. My strongest trials now are past. My triumph has begun. Oh, come, angel band, come and around me stand. Bear me away on your snow-white wings to my immortal home. Bear me away on your snow-white wings to my immortal home. I'll bear my longing heart to him who bled and died for me, whose blood now cleanses from all sin and gives me victory. Oh, come, angel band, come and around me stand. Bear me away on your snow-white wings to my immortal home. Bear me away on your snow-white wings to my immortal home. I've almost reached my heavenly home. My spirit loudly sings, behold, the ancient ones they come. I hear the sound of wings. Oh, come, angel band, come and around me stand. Bear me away on your snow-white wings to my immortal home. Bear me away on your snow-white wings to my immortal home. Troubles and trials often betray us, causing the weary body to stray. But we will walk beside the still waters with the good shepherd leading the way. We will not heed the voice of the stranger, for he will lead us on to despair. Following on with Jesus our Savior, soon we shall reach that country so fair. Going up home to live in green pastures, where we shall live and die nevermore. Even the Lord will be in that number when we have reached the heavenly shore. This is a great verse. This would be a great verse for Justin. Those who have strayed were sought by the Master. He who once gave his life for the sheep. Following on with Jesus our Savior, bringing us in forever to keep. Going up home to live in green pastures, where we shall live and die nevermore. Even the Lord will be in that number when we have reached that heavenly shore. All right. You just don't know what to say when somebody leaves before their time, you know. And there's no good words for it. Maybe there's some good music can do some help, but like I said, I don't have any other information on how it and anything, so there's not much more to say. I'm just going to keep on playing songs. Typically, we do a section where I play you guys a demo that I had from back in the day. I had one of those queued up. Typically, we'd read a poem right now, and I did have a poem queued up, but it was extremely inappropriate for what's going on right now. And typically, I jump in the comments and rap with everybody, but just not appropriate to do that tonight. I'm just going to continue to play some songs to honor Justin Townes Earle's memory. I didn't know him like too well. You know, we did a couple tours together. We did one really intense tour together, but our fates seemed to be linked a lot in those first 5 years when I was getting things started. And he was a hard guy to get to know. I'll say that. I can't speak for everybody, but I'll speak from my experience. He was a hard guy to get to know, and I don't know if I ever truly got to connect with him because he had a lot of demons, and I don't think I'm talking out of school right there. I think he wrote about that a lot. I think he talked openly about that a lot. And man, again, I'm thinking of his family tonight. I'm thinking of his wife. I'm thinking of his daughter. Most especially, I'm thinking of my good friend, Steve Earle, who I love so dearly. And I am the day, I am the dawn, I am the darkness coming on. I'm once, I'm twice, I am the whole, I'm just a slice. Some call me gone, some call me here, none are wrong, none are near. I am right now, I am back then, I will return, don't ask me when. I am the disappointed kiss, I am the unexpected harvest. I am the old Kentucky home, I am the son who runs the farthest. I have done wrong, I will do wrong, there's nothing wrong with doing wrong. And I'm faith, I am belief, except for when I'm not. I am the teeth of champions, I am rust and water rot. And I'm sleep, I'm breathing, I'm the missing of the past and seasons. I am the brush, I am the strokes, I'm sickness come to the best of folks. I am renewed, I am just made, I am unchanging. I'm a pasture fenced about the edge, I am Dakota thunder raging. And by my shoes, and by my feet, and by my soul in wonder, I am the tracks we've laid above, I am the tunnel running under. If you're just arriving here, I'm playing some songs. This isn't a typical show. We just found out that a friend of mine and a fellow traveler on the road of writing songs, playing songs, and taking them around the world. Justin Townes Earle, he's passed away. I remember that long tour that I did with him. It was about 8 weeks long, and I was going to open it, and I was going to open every show except one show. I had a show in Chicago on that tour, and because I had like a pretty good draw that time in Chicago, we said, no, we'll open all the shows, but in Chicago, you'll open for us. And so for whatever reason, he was just kind of breaking at that time, so they said, okay, fine, whatever. And then I can remember we caught up with their tour at San Diego. We were playing the college at San Diego State, I think, or maybe just University of San Diego or UCD or something like that. Um, and I got there, and I remember he had this power trio. On fiddle, it was Josh Headley, who was fiddling for him, and on bass, it was Bryn Davies, which is just a real ringer, squad of ringers for your band. And they were both playing the hell out of their instruments, and they were both singing. They were doing these three-part harmonies. And I remember at that show in San Diego, we were still 4 weeks away from the show where I was going to have to follow them. And I remember just at that sound check, watching them play and just thinking to myself, my God, I'm screwed. Like, and I just spent the next 4 weeks so worried about how I was going to follow this incredible show because the songs were incredible. He was on fire at the time creatively. He had just finished that album, Midnight at the Movies. I think he was writing that album. I guess the name of the album too is Harlem River Blues. Maybe it's certainly that song was on that the next album. So he was at this like really important time for him creatively, and also fans were starting to catch on to it. So what had happened with that tour is they had all been booked into all the shows had been booked into like 200 or 300 seat capacity clubs and theaters, and by the time the tour was announced and when it happened, his album had kind of broke a little bit. So just like that, all the shows on the tour were sold out. So when you would get there, there would just be like this amazing vibe because not only was it sold out, it had been sold out for weeks. Usually there'd be people outside trying to get tickets, and it just had this atmosphere. It's the only time I've been on a tour like that before. They just had this atmosphere where you felt like something was really happening in the moment. You felt like that there was a zeitgeist type energy. And he would go out on stage every night, and he would bring down the house. Him and Bryn and Josh Davies, or Bryn Davies and Josh Headley, they'd bring down the house, man. And then we finally got to Chicago, where I had to go on after them, and they played this opening set. And I know Justin, he must have been pissed that he had to open that show, and he knew that he had a much better show than me at that time. He knew how good his show was, and so he put on just a barn burner of an opening set. I mean, imagine taking like a 90-minute opening set and then just taking the best 45 minutes out of that. So it was like a shot of whiskey of his show, you know. And so I remember watching their opening act, and I was on the side of the stage feeling about this big because I just knew. I mean, I had a pretty good show at that time, but sometimes when someone's really feeling it and they just got the band and they got an audience behind them, I mean, it's just their night. You know what I mean? It's just their tour. It's just the way things go sometimes, and nothing you're going to do is going to be able to amend that. So I was on the side of the stage feeling about this big, and I remember I just went upstairs to the green room, and I found the bottle of whiskey that I think my manager had hid it from me at the time because he kind of anticipated what my play would be, and I drank. Man, I put a nice dent in that bottle of whiskey, went on stage drunk, put on a horrible show, just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Even if I'd played my best show, we still would have gotten skunked. But I just went in totally drunk, played a horrible show, went out into the back alley behind Lincoln Hall where the gig was, smashed up this guitar that my mother had given me. My mother had given me this Gilda guitar, and then it just so happened that my mom had flown in to see that show that night. And she was still working at the time. She wasn't retired yet, so she had flown in to see the show all the way there. And I remember I'd smashed that guitar she had given me, and she came back and she saw me after the show, and she just hugged me. And it was such an intense time of my life. You know, I was just so far in over my head. I was like a couple months removed from building houses. I felt like a real imposter at the time. And I was just on this tour with Justin where it really seemed like he knew what he was doing. And I hope I don't feel like I'm talking too much about myself here. I'm just trying to give you a sense of what it was like to be on the road with him, of what it was like to see somebody who was just really in their own element at that time. He really was in his own element. This would have been 10 or 12 years ago. He really, in some ways, he was on top of the world. Creatively, he was on top of the world, certainly, at that time. And it was just, I know that I'll probably never be around something like that again. It was a really special thing to be around, to see the inside of. And you know, now that he's gone, like that was his moment. You know, I think, I mean, it's just, we all have our moments in life, and he had this beautiful, shining silver moment creatively and on stage, performing arts wise. And I'm here to tell you, man, it was really good. I don't know what was going on off stage one way or the other, but what I saw him do on stage for those 8 weeks, man, I mean, it made me it made me drink too much, smash a guitar, and fall crying into the arms of my mom, man. So it had to be pretty good, right? I'm here to tell you, man, I saw it with my own 2 eyes. I was a witness to that, and it was really good. And I know a lot of the people that saw that tour know it was really good, that were really affected by his live shows at that time, and the music that he was writing at that time. There's no two ways around it. It's just an immense loss. It's an immense loss to lose anybody before their time. But it's an immense loss to American music to lose him, and the loss to his family. I just cannot even, I can't fathom. To his daughter, I think she's 2 or 3 years old, maybe 3 or 4 years old. God bless her. God bless her mom. My heart's with you guys. My heart's with Steve. I'm so sorry, Steve. There was a time when I heard you calling out my name. But these days, I'm not so sure. When the room went dark and your voice was gone, I heard you all the same. But these days, I'm not so sure. I knew I could remember your bedroom and your touch, but these days I'm not so sure. Definitely was a word I used far too much, but these days I'm not so sure. I bummed expensive cigarettes, I wrote John Steinbeck's books, I unread someone's daughter, then complained about her looks. Stealing was so easy then, I wish that it still were. Now as I pick my own pocket, I know that these days I'm not so sure. Church was my kitchen, the world was my church, but these days I'm not so sure. To choirs I would listen, to briars I would search, but these days I'm not so sure. I sacrificed my sister, I prayed my own soul to keep. I told my dying father that a man should never weep. Breathing was so easy then, I wish that it still were. Now in my reaper's bedroom, I know that these days I'm not so sure. I drank my wine for breakfast every morning. I was born in the black electric winter My back was always warm. Sleeping was so easy then, I wish that it still were. Now in my sleepless bedroom, I know that these days, not so sure. Thank you very much. Yeah, if this is your first time tuning in, it's obviously it's a little bit more lighthearted in shows like this, and typically a really big part of this show is taking people's questions and stuff down in the chat or taking requests from down there. I simply just don't have the heart to do it tonight because I'm just not sure what would set me off and what wouldn't, trying to walk a straight and narrow path right now. So thanks for being here. Thanks for, I'm sure, words of encouragement that you are putting there in the chat, and in the future, if you feel like coming back, I'd love to chat with you. Someone passes away, especially unexpectedly, all these memories come to you, man. Justin took me down on a tour of Australia for the first time 10 years ago. I've since been to Australia probably 7 or 8 times, and it was all because he brought me down there with a promoter named BT, Brian Taranto, who's going to be devastated. And we played, when you play in Australia, you basically just play on the East Coast. That's where most of the population is, almost all of the population. And then the middle of the continent, which is as big as the continental U.S., there's really nothing in the middle of it. And then there's a few outposts on the West Coast, the biggest of which I believe is Perth, where there's some minerals and stuff for them to drill in the ground there. So there's population out there to do that. And Perth is the biggest town, but Perth is still a pretty small town. Perth, if I had to guess off the top of my head, being in Perth kind of feels like being in, maybe Birmingham, Alabama, like that size, maybe even a little bit smaller. But imagine like Birmingham, Alabama in the middle of, the tundra of Canada, with nothing around it. So it's a real outpost. You just feel like you're on the other side of the world. And you'd fly from the East Coast shows. You do like 2 or 3 weeks of shows on the East Coast of Australia. And then for some reason we'd fly out to Perth, play 1 gig, which I'm sure we were making no money on, but just to say that we had done it. And I just have this memory burned into my brain. I must have been 25 years old, and we had flown out to Perth. I don't think there was any tour manager with us at that time, so it was just me and Justin and his fiddle player, Josh Headley, old head. And we were just we went to the beach in Perth before the gig, and we all had to buy bathing suits from some chintzy shop. And of course Justin bought like some designer, somehow he had figured out how to buy like some Prada bathing, I don't know. He figured out how to buy the one like $500 bathing suit in the Five and Dime store. I don't even know where he got it. And then I remember in old head, Josh tried to buy the same one to keep up with the Joneses, and Justin was like, "No, man, you're not even making that much tonight. You can't wear that." So Josh bought a cheap one with me. So we both had the cheap trunks on, and we all went swimming in the Indian Ocean together. So we went swimming in the Indian Ocean together, and then I just remember standing outside of the club. We got to the club early, and we were just on the other side of the world next to the Indian Ocean in bathing suits waiting for a club to open. I mean, this all feels like a dream to me now. And then after the gig, it was a pretty good gig. No, it was a really good gig. I mean, it was a small club, but it was sold out because everything Justin was doing then was sold out, and people just went nuts for the show. And then the tour manager said, I hope I'm not mixing up stories here, but I'm almost positive this is the same show. Afterwards, the deceased singer of AC/DC, Bon Scott, is from out there, and he is buried close to the club. And he said, "Do you guys want to go to Bon Scott's grave now?" And me and Josh and Justin said, "Yeah." And So after we swam in the Indian Ocean and waited for sound check in our bathing suits, we got a bottle of whiskey and we drank it on top of Bon Scott's grave in the middle of the night and poured the rest of the whiskey on top and went back to our hotel rooms after that, and that was that. And I was 25 years old and I felt like I was in a dream, man. I just, next to the Indian Ocean, drinking whiskey on top of a grave. I mean, well, they can't take your memories away from you, so. I will find you at the exit of my highway. I will find you at the bottom of my glass. No drink is strong enough. No drink is strong enough. No drink is strong enough to still my shaking hand. On a highway west of Davenport and Kansas, in the moonlight of a broken red roof inn, no night is dark enough to tell you where I've been. And I will find you in the arms of yet another. I will find you in her medicated eyes. No God is cruel enough. No God is cruel enough. No God is cruel enough to pay me back in kind. I will find you painting crosses in the courtyard. I will find you walking backwards with a child. No fault is high enough. No fault is high enough. No fault is high enough. I'm going to leave it with that. Thanks for joining tonight in my sending a prayer up right now for Justin's soul and for his family in these days ahead, and all my love to you, Steve, and the rest of the family. I'm so sorry for your loss, and God bless. And I thank all of you for watching tonight. I don't know what just happened, but that did happen. So I'll see you next week. Take it easy.